Donald Trump recently held a press conference with Ukraine's President Zelensky, and to everyone's shock, it was a total disaster. Instead of acting like actual leaders, Trump and Vance scolded Zelensky for not being grateful enough, even though earlier in that very meeting he thanked them. And yeah, as you'd expect, social media absolutely lost their minds over this. So today we're going to check out some of the biggest reactions online, and let me tell you, it's not looking great for Trump. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more breakdowns like this.
So why don't you ever wear a suit? We always see you dressed like this.
You got a problem with what I got on?
I mean, yeah, a lot of Americans have a problem with it because you're the highest.
So y'all got a problem. Let me ask you something. You ever been to war?
Yeah, we've been to war a couple.
You personally, you ever been to war?
No, sir.
Nah?
No, I have not
So
been
shut
to
the
war.
fuck up talking to me. I ain't wearing shit. I ain't put on no kind of costume until that shit over with. When I leave here, I'm going back. I put that bulletproof vest on. I'm going back out there on the front lines. What you doing when you leave here? Huh? You going home? Kiss your wife? Watch a little TV? Yeah, that's what the fuck I thought. Shut up. Lame ass nigga. That cheap ass suit you got on. Where you get that from? Burlington? I got Louis V in my closet. Yeah. Nigga, this whole fit Dior. Fuck you talking about? Talking about a suit. Y'all let Elon trash dressing ass come in here with bootcut jeans, a graphic tee, and a goddamn blazer with a snapback on, and y'all trying to come for me talking about why I don't wear no suits. His son in here leaving boogers and shit. It's a booger right there.
Every time I think things cannot get crazier, every time I think Trump cannot say something even more absurd, I'm proven wrong. You know how a few days ago Trump said that Zelensky is a dictator, even though he's not? Today, at a press conference sitting next to Emmanuel Macron, Trump was asked whether he thinks Putin is a dictator. And what do you think he said? I mean, Putin's been in power since 1999. The answer is pretty obvious. Naturally, he had to say yes. Right? No, dead wrong. He skirted around the question and said that he doesn't take calling somebody a dictator lightly.
If you called Zelensky a dictator, would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you know, you're talking about Europe and you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation.
Just wow. This is beyond insane and absurd, and insert whatever choice of adjective that you have. I feel like I'm having a bad dream, a nightmare that I can't wake up from, or else I'm in some sort of messed up simulation. No words. What is he going to come up with tomorrow? Anyway, please keep talking, keep sharing, keep holding Russia accountable. Cheers. Slava Ukraini.
Republicans have been calling Russia the enemy since I was in elementary school, and now, all of a sudden, Putin isn't really a dictator to them because Trump wants to kiss his ass.
I get that Orange Julius Caesar never needs much of a reason for treason, but this meeting he just had with Zelensky is fucking gallows worthy. Last I checked, Russia has been our adversary for like a fucking century. Even during the Second World War, they were never our allies. They were the enemies of our enemies. In fact, at the beginning of the war, Russia originally allied itself with the Nazis so they could invade Allied territory. Looking at the White House now, it looks like some things never changed. And it has been an obvious and undeniable truth that since 1945, Russia's interests have been fundamentally opposed to that of the United States and her allies. Once more, as it has been the consensus of every democratic nation on Earth since World War II that invading sovereign nations is a fucking no-no. And on top of that, when the USSR fell apart and Ukraine became an independent nation, they signed a peace treaty with Russia where they agreed to give up the nukes that Ukraine had possession of and not join NATO, all because Russia promised in writing that they would never show aggression or invade Ukraine. Something they have broken repeatedly with their annexation of Crimea and their unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. And since then, Ukraine, who is a United States ally has been fighting and kicking the shit out of the Russians so we don't have to. Every single U.S. ally has explicitly agreed that Russia is in the wrong for invading Ukraine, and we must do everything within our power to make sure that Ukraine can defend itself and repel its invaders. So for Donald Trump to throw our ally, who is currently fighting for its very life and sovereignty,
Remember to subscribe for more videos like this. Let's get back into the clip.
Under the bus, and to abandon our sworn obligations to Ukraine, all of our European allies, and just a basic sense of decency, humanity, and democracy. Also, he can align himself with the murderous dictators of Russia and North Korea. That is some Benedict Arnold level shit. That is firing squad level shit. That is aiding and abetting the enemies of the United States of America. That is treason. And for General Flabby McBonespurs to sit there next to Zelensky, a man who has bravely led his country in a David and Goliath story through one of the most gruesome and excruciating conflicts of the 21st century, and sell him out to our enemies, repeating Russian propaganda to his face in an attempt to exploit him for mineral rights, has to be some of the most disgusting rhetoric and behavior we have seen out of Dollar General Jabba the Hutt thus far. And that is an incredibly high or low bar, I don't really know, but it's an impressive bar to clear, because that man is garbage. Everything that man does is garbage, and this makes his normal garbage look almost statesmanlike. The fact that Zelensky didn't stand up and Will Smith the shit out of Vladimir Putin when that bullshit was coming out of his mouth is a testament to the man's character and composure, because I sure as shit don't know if I could have been quite so polite. And Republicans, what the fuck is wrong with you? You remember Russia is the country you guys have always hated. Communist Russia has been the boogeyman for your entire fucking existence. And all it took for you brainless fucking sheep to go from hating Russia and Putin to fully embracing murderous dictators was your cult leader telling you that suddenly that's a cool guy?
You guys have to see this. Donald Trump just issued new threats to President Zelensky of Ukraine after his failure of a meeting in the Oval Office the other day. Take a look at what President Trump posted. Posting somebody else's opinion so that Trump can basically talk in third person, Trump says, "Now Zelensky will have no choice but to back down and accept Trump's terms." But here's the genius part. Trump is actually protecting Ukraine without dragging the U.S. into war. By negotiating a mineral deal, Trump ensures that Americans will be involved in Ukraine's mining industry. This prevents Russia from launching an invasion, because attacking Ukraine would mean endangering American lives, something that would force the U.S. to respond. Trump played both sides like a master chess player. In the end, Zelensky will have no choice but to concede, because without U.S. support, Ukraine cannot win a prolonged war against Russia. And once U.S. companies have mining operations in Ukraine, Putin will be unable to attack without triggering massive international consequences. Don't underestimate Donald Trump. In this game of chess, he's 10 moves ahead of everyone. Wow, what a bunch of bullshit. Trump dropped the ball so badly in his meeting with Zelensky that he's now reposting other people's opinions to try and act like the pressure is on Ukraine, whereas Donald Trump, if I remember correctly, was the one who said he would end the war on day one. It's now been over a month into his presidency, and he's actively prolonging this war. Donald Trump did not get a peace deal signed. Meanwhile, Zelensky is in Europe meeting with every single other European nation. But do you know who is not invited? Donald Trump in the United States. What a failure of leadership we have here. Donald Trump is a disgrace.
If you're American and for God knows what reason you still support Donald Trump, you should be massively fucking ashamed right now of yourself, of your country, and especially your shoddy excuse of a president. The way that he has just spoken to Zelensky is fucking horrific. Not just him, but also the little arse weasel that is JD Vance. He and his fellow countrymen have been fighting relentlessly for the last 3 years after Trump's best mate Putin decided, oh, it's a nice day to take over another country. Some of the stories of the families who have had to flee the Ukraine, who are now currently living in the UK, it's just absolutely soul-destroying. So for that absolute thunder cunt that is Donald Trump to say to Zelensky, you're not ready for peace, and basically taunting him and saying that he's the reason, or he's toying with people, millions of people's lives, and this is going to cause World War III.
How in the hell did Trump let J.D. Vance derail his own meeting?
Do you view Vice President J.D. Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No.
Trump doesn't even believe in J.D. Vance, but this idiot is out here on his knees crying, asking why people aren't thanking Trump.
How incredibly, incredibly disrespectful, and shows just how little he actually knows about world politics. Or he knows everything, because obviously he's definitely in Putin's pocket. Zelensky sat there, calm, considered, diplomatic with his responses, whilst fucking Beavis and Butthead were going at him. The most unpresidential behaviour I've probably ever seen. And I don't think that he's done all this just because he's up Putin's arsehole. I think it's because over the last couple of days, both Keir Starmer and Macron have absolutely fucking owned him publicly, live in interviews, showing him that he knows absolutely nothing about world politics. And what do bullies do when they're humiliated? They find somebody else that they can take their anger out on. He is a weak, uneducated, narcissistic man, and he just thrives off of status and attention. That man couldn't run a bath, let alone a country. So if you are American and you still support Trump, then probably not only will you be fucking around and finding out, but sadly, I think possibly American forces too. Because if anybody's starting World War III, it's that twat.
So we knew that Zelensky was coming to the White House, and if he could reach a deal, they would reach a deal. They'd sign off, everything would be fine. So to do that and to make that happen, my understanding is they must have a dialogue, okay? Not a monologue, but a dialogue. So they were going back and forth, as expected, right? Except we saw it on TV. And I appreciate that transparency. But here's the part that kills me, because here's what happens in corporate. So Zelensky was explaining his part, like what happened in his country, how it was occupied, blah, blah, blah. We all pretty much know the story if we've been following this war for the last few years. Then JD Vance comes back. I guess he didn't like what Zelensky said. So all of a sudden, when he didn't like his explanation, and JD Vance didn't like when Zelensky questioned him and said, have you been to Ukraine to see our problems? He didn't like that. So then it all of a sudden turns into, I am being attacked. That is so corporate. That's what happens in corporate. When somebody in leadership or a coworker doesn't like what you say, even after you give them an explanation, they're being attacked. That's what they did to him. They tried to ambush him, thought he was going to lay down, and he did not. Okay? He has not been laying down. He's not a punk. He hasn't been a punk, and I don't know why they thought they were going to be able to bully him into laying down. That part right there just irritated and got under my skin, because that's what they do. That's what they do. They try to flip it on you. And all of a sudden, when they don't like what you're saying, they're being attacked. You're attacking the Oval Office. I guess my question is, what was Zelensky supposed to do? Just sit there and take what they were saying? He wasn't supposed to engage in a dialogue with them? That's crazy to me. So if he had agreed, then they wouldn't feel attacked. But because he disagreed with what they were saying, now all of a sudden I'm being attacked. And a lot of you can relate to that. I'm pretty sure you had somebody in the office after you had to tell them a few things or explain something that they did not like hearing, you were attacking them. Typical corporate BS.
The United States is an embarrassment. I just watched part of Zelensky and Trump's meeting in the Oval Office, and holy shit. Donald Trump thinks he is God's gift to man, and that if you do not bow down to him, and in every statement, in every conversation, you do not demonstrate how he is the superior one, then you don't deserve an inkling of respect. He talked to Zelensky like he was a child, and quite rudely, effectively said, one, you guys aren't grateful enough to the U.S., which could not be further from the truth. Ukraine has had nothing but gratitude to the U.S. as well as the many other countries that are helping. And two, he just put him down the whole time. You guys would be nothing. You guys wouldn't be here if it weren't for us. We are the good ones. You should take a ceasefire. If a ceasefire is offered, you would be an idiot not to take it. What makes you think you have control of the entire world, Mr. Trump? Because you sure as hell don't, and you do not speak to other leaders like that. I guarantee you his conversations with Putin are going a slightly different way, and he's probably the one sucking up to Putin the whole time. If you haven't seen any of this meeting, please go look it up, because I am fuming so badly, I can't even post it. Russia is a terrorist state, and haven't quite figured out the right description for the US, but we're not the good ones. Slava Ukraini.
What do you think? Did Trump and Vance completely fumble this, or do you think their supporters will still eat it up? Let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video.